B'Shas, I was my own personal Golus. I wasn't I just took the words of the Rebbe, the words of that I was taught in about Emunah, about B'tochen, about Trachgut v'Zayngut, about the power of Teda Mitzvahs, about the who I really am, I'm a Yid, not thinking about all things that the Sahara wants to bring into your head, pushing them away. In short, I took the words of Teda literally. In other words, we have everybody today is focused on the Sechel that we Yechida here Chavchas. Listen, now it's Tafshin Nun Aleph, today Tafshin Pei Aleph. And amazingly, the Rebbe starts the Sechel off. Everybody focuses on these clips. So, at the end of the Sechel, the beginning of the Sechel, the Rebbe starts off talking about Harenu and the Flos Harenu, and the idea that it has to be Harenu. That was them. The whole thing of B'tochen is to be B'tei V'nirach HaNigel. It's not enough that Emunah that the Eibush does is good, and therefore we're able to go through the pain, but rather we have to have the Arenu. And now we're today with Tafshin Pei Aleph, also ploys Arenu, and it comes and even from we should see the ploys, and this is not just what we made up. It's actually brought down a Sechel from there about ploys Arenu amazingly. So the idea is to look at the words we're learning Teda and take it for with a pshutas that this is the emes, not allowing outside the ideas coming in and questioning and asking and forget and this is about for the few minutes I have over here. I'd like to share with you a few thoughts. First, focus on the Sechel that we just said. The plus I don't know. The second thing is. Along with the hard words they hear that the Rebbe says that everything was Havlarik. I mean that's such painful, crying words. The Rebbe worked so hard and gave himself some Mesiras Nefesh to everybody. Mesiras Nefesh, it means giving away from his own time. Where the Rebbe could have been growing in his own by himself. Mamash gave away from himself to every single Yid. And he says the only explanation could be because when you're talking about something which is the Pnimis Haratzon, something which is the essence of everything, if the essence is there, you have it. If the essence is not there, you can't say I got part of it. Actually, the Rebbe says even the Golus, even Golus Pnimi, the hashem, the idea we have to get the essence of all we're doing in Shlichas and all we're doing in Afas Mayanas Chutza. Has to be Mashiach, and along with the simcha of being successful in daily aveda, there has to be the knowledge and the heavy, the hard and the knowledge. As long as Mashiach doesn't come, it hasn't come yet. If I comes and the Mishra Shema come today, we are there's an aspect of Havlarik. It has to be it's like a businessman. If he has to make a profit at the end of the day. If without that, all the business that he's in. It doesn't make him a businessman. He has to come up with what the themes of everything is. So and one more point is there has to be Eidos that tell you in the few short words that Rebbe says over there. He does put in there should be Eidos that tell you taket kelim the tikkun. So the focus should be not only on kelim the tikkun, there has to also be you have to ask yourself is it Eidos that tell you? Meaning is it strong Eidos that were very connected with the Eibishter? Is it Eidos that are stronger above and beyond the Hagbolos that we're living in? And this is the way we bring Mashiach. So, and obviously, finally, 2000 cant that Gosh is Afasiyim, that Pashaton, and in Teda Mitzvah. So, I want to start off with a story that the Rebbe said about the beginning of the Nesias about the Rebbe Rayatz, and when he was in prison in Tafresh Pei Zayin. And he describes, look at the Buddha, he describes in very, very detailed, he describes the Seder Hayim in prison. Obviously, these type of stories, if going through the Buddha, for me, there was a lifeline. And he describes how one of the things they do in Russia and actually do in America also in jails, they take away from you the watch. Amazingly, they don't give you a watch. The Rebbe explains this is because they want to make you feel subjugated. They want to overcome you. And in America, they do also very sophisticated ways to make you feel less of a person, less to become institutionalized. So the Rebbe goes the whole. So how did the Rebbe figure out to say the Hayim? So through how do you know the time? So he writes the Proteus. They figured out the time through the Seder Hayim. that he knew in the morning they brought the hot water to the people, so he knew it was 6 o'clock. So then the Rebbe goes into the whole discussion of Moshe Rabbeinu when he was in Har Sinai. How did he know the time when Ilm has? He was above Hechef and Welt. So he says, but Malachim saying Kodesh, 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 or Malachim saying Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem Kedei, is that's the way he knew what was the night and day. So this is what the Rebbe writes in Kutli. But in the question, the Rebbe asks a person Sechel. You're talking about two opposites total. One side, the Rebbe started describing a place called prison, whatever that thing in Kastarama, a place of the lowest of depths. And here, Mitamol, the Rebbe gives a switch to talking about the highest of heights, Moshe Rabbeinu on Har Sinai, where he's above the world. What's the movement of the thing? And the explanation is Pashat Derech HaChaim, the way a person is able to overcome, a person who finds himself in goals, or finds himself any limitation, any difficulty first implies himself as a goals, Panimia goes from the outside, who's not in goals today, in that respect, or goals tries to swallow him up. So if how do you get out of this? How do you get out of it? In a place called prison, how do you pick yourself up? The answer is look at this. Look at the matzav about the took away your watch. You don't know time. Don't focus on the matzav where you see it here. Look at it as it's l'mayla. Look at how it would look in Kedusha. The way everything originates. Look at where it starts from, and by focusing there, then you can pick yourself out of the Pel Mamish. It's not, I can tell you personally, and obviously the time is not here for a detailed elaboration of it. Personally, this is Mamish the way it works. It's not something which you learn in a Chassidus shir, or you remember Chassidus, and then you think it's a hypothetical. When you take, and you could be in the most lowest of places, but you take whatever you're living through and you put it in what you said, it's not on Har Sinai, Mitamol, Har Sinai. And all the time and all the pain you're suffering is transformed. This is what means living with Gula. Living with Gula means don't look at the Golus as a Golus of punishment and Shredakite. Look at the whole thing where it starts from and how it's kind of lachandav made. How you could not be living Gula in Golus, but getting out of the Gula, which is and how. So the answer is like Alter Rebbe says in Tanya. What's it based on? How can it be Korev? The Kitzer, he says because you have a Neshama, because you have the Keiches, Bem is the Hashem, Hashem you're looking for. Is Bem is within you. So we talk about Mashiach, everybody hears the word Mashiach, right away you transform, this is something way beyond me. Of Bemis, it's Mamish within us, and I'm not sure, I didn't listen to the previous Fabrengers, but I'm sure somebody mentioned it. He has it again. There's a remember standing by Fabringen, and the Rabbi asked a question. One of the tefillahs that's very close. I ask many people. At Shosh Golem, you say the Hirotzen by Psichasodom. So over there, yes, it's Kain Bon Mishkei Shekosov. Right. So everybody, as a young bacher, as a not only yes for Gashmi, it's a Ruchnis, Ruch Das is Hashem, Ruch Etz Gvura, Abs, as the geschehene Werte mit Betten Babyschkein Bono. It's get a bit of a uplift to get over there, and in front of a Sefer. So the Pasha base. Where's it? Who's this person going on? On Mashiach. And it's the Haftarah that we read the Achash Pesach. So the Rabbi asks, how do we say in front of Sefer Torah, V'Iskayim Bonu, when what do you want to be Mashiach? Well, this is a request to become Mashiach. What's going on over here? Maybe you want to say you should have ruch. You want to have the ruch. Is good, but where come the V'Iskayim Bonu Mikra Shekosov Elamai? The answer is because every year does have a chelik, a nitzutz of Mashiach. In which way? Every Eid has in the Neshama. The Neshama there are 5 parts. Neshama Chai Yechida, and b'meila mitzad Yechida shebehud Mashiach is Yechida kloli of Klal Yisrael. He awakens Klal Yisrael, and every Eid has that Yechida. B'meila mitzad the Yechida can bet the Mebishn as all Gauls and the Golus'dike part that's never in Golus. So if you find yourself in a place called prison, you find yourself in Golus. How do you get out of Golus? You can't do Golus'dike things and get out of Golus. Pare had even tied up every which way because nobody can get out of it. In time, you can't get out. You need the Eberste in the mountain that have to get out of Golos. So what's that is how you get out of Golos? You have to connect to the part of yourself that's not in Golos. And what's that? Your Neshama. And more specifically, Yechida Shabbat Neshama. That part of your Neshama, which is not in Golos. If you start living with that part of your Neshama, so then the next question is how you live with Yechida. What is Yechida? So you learn and you find that Yechida means the part of the Neshama. The Yechida is called Yechida because it's Yechid with the Eberste. It's always one of the Eberste. There's parts of the Neshama, your Machshav de Beramaisa, your Sechel Midis, the parts, even your Retenis, the parts of your Neshama that could be fadreit and caught up, or be at least mu'urav, mixed up with Ra. So if you're going to rely on your Sechel, on your Midis, and no matter how good you learn, how good you understand, if you rely on that to build your to get out of your goals, you're not going to succeed because that part you can't do it a lot with that alone. You have to go. You can. In there, you see that it's important. The Rabbi explains over there. There's battery styles of Rabbi. Even the person could be in a matzav. They think there could be a mekara that could be mixed into seichel, and that's where machlekes come from. The Rabbi says, and that there could be things that comes in. But when you work with Yechida, then you never make a mistake because Yechida means that part of your neshama that says azay nitandish. That means if it's getlichkeit, I'm with it. If it's not getlichkeit, I'm not there. That's a simple thing. So you always, that's very easy to see. You look in Shulchan Aruch. Look at my cant. When it comes to Ma'aser Peil, you can't. In Svaras comes to Dingen. When it comes to Ma'aser Peil, when it comes to Machlekes, there's no reason for Machlekes. Machlekes is not going to get you anywhere. It only degrades everybody. That is Avos Hashem. Avos Yisrael, you get somewhere. Akopon of Yechida means living with the Eibishter in any way which you can. So your Sechel, you dedicate to learning Torah. Your Midas, you dedicate to helping your Yid, Avos Hashem, Midas Hashem. But what's the foundation of it? How do you what's the foundation of your Sechel? That is Yechida, that deep connection with the Eibishter. How do you megal Yechida? How do you see that you're working with Yechida, you work with Sechel and Midas? Yeah. So the answer is that's my part of the tzavos. That's clearly that Mesiras Nefesh. When you do a mitzvah b'hiddur, we're not making chokhmas. Yeah, but you have a challenge. You have a challenge, and that challenge is met with a clearer way. That's the hiddur mitzvah and connect with Eibush. That's the Yechida working, and you're not to look for ways to soften up your connection with Eibush. That's Yechida. I wanted to share. There's a Maimon Torah Eir. There's a small piece over there. But Alter Rebbe explains and this pasha to bring out what Yechida is, where you can have two opposites. When a person only is going one derech, only cut into one kav, then it's very possible that kav is his own thing. That's his only tias. It's not really Avodas Hashem. But when he's able to do two kavim, then that comes taka from the emes. He's taka connected with Eibush. He's doing good taka with his Yechida. So what do you see that? So the Meister Azara brings it in the Gemara. And the Azara brings the Meister the Bechibur Tradin. There's one that started looking Malchus, and he visited his Rabbi in Kismo, who was sick, and the Bechibur Tradin was burnt. We say that in Kippur. He was burnt with a Sefer Torah because he was learning Torah B'Rabbim, and then the Romans were prohibited. They had the shuls closed. They were flattening a curve, seems like, and that the shuls closed. They couldn't learn. So it was dangerous. They can get killed. So the Beresim Kism says that I hear that you're learning Torah with B'Rabbim. They're gonna kill you for it. You better stop it. So Chinina answers. Yerachim, Hashem Yerachim. David Tachmanos haben. So Jens is in back. Ich rede mit Dvar Tam. What do you answer Hashem Yerachim? And the Gemara doesn't state what the Bechina answers in back. Interesting. It's an interesting conversation there. In other words, the Bechina said, this is the way it has to be. You have to keep it going. We're talking about Yechid Mesiras Nefesh. Mordechai brought out the Mesilas through the Mesilas Nefesh. I brought the Munah in the Eibishter to Rasisa Mitzvah. He brought him out through Mesilas Nefesh Dafke. When you find yourself doing Mesilas Nefesh, you know Mesilas Nefesh, that is what we're talking about now. That's Taka Yechida. And this is what it means. Living with Mashiach doesn't just mean, it means doing the mitzvahs, starting with Avos Yisrael and Tzedakah, and doing it higher than Sechel. If you find your Sechel is blocking you, then you have to ask yourself, am I serving the Eibush? I'm serving myself. So Rabbi Chanina, when trying to ask Rabbi Yisrael Kisma, tell me, am I going to have Ilm Haba? So he tells him, tell me a Maisa that happened with you. So he says, a Maisa put him, money got mixed up over there. So he gave all his money he had away for the Aniyim. Question is, as Adarves Mashashayla, Rabbi tried to have a question. If you know the he was a person, a tzaddik who was Mephis Teda Berabim, Mesilas Nefesh, and one of Saram Machas. Why will you have a question if you've been in Hava? And then the Chesed says, if that's the case, then Mitamol Vetem Rechkos, he gave away money by putting Mitamol. He says, I'll be with you in Nilam Hava. What happened over here? Very clear, very simple, really simple. Rabbi was questioning himself if his learning was coming because he had Mother Yechida and he liked to learn. And I may be oversimplifying it, but it's not oversimplifying. I think it's very accurate. He didn't, and so in order to figure out, so he wasn't sure where it's coming. Imagine, because there could be a hidden ra in him that he's doing the Pasha Mother Yechida like a person. So how do you find out what's really happening in your heart? So he asked him, tell me a story, Maisa, tut, out of the cant. Tell me a Maisa, Habol, tell me something that you did, and I'll tell you who you are. So he says, yeah, as a matter of fact, Maisa put him, I gave away money. So Eibazei, the Haraya, because giving out money, a Mother Yechida person does not give out money. A Mother Yechida person is an invert, is involved with himself. And so when mailed, but somebody who's befazing money is somebody who's a mother of an outgoing person. So it's when mailed, when you can see by a person being able to handle two types of aveda. Sein Mother Yechida, sein Mother Zaraya, as it comes from Hecher. And the mind of this about das, but the same Indian. The idea is, tell me a story of V Lepsto, verse 2, and I'll tell you where you're holding. If you do, what's the question? Nobody's questioning anybody's nefesh or the dedication to the hashem. We'll listen does it come because that's why you're naturally inclined to do things, or you're doing it mitzad Yechida sheba nefesh, you're doing it mitzad yourself. So when the Rebbe says the emes, what's emes mean? Yechida is emes. When Yechida, it comes out in the kula of emes, and what you see when your person is also, this is all spoken about the Rebbe's Mamorim. When you see when you begal the Yechida sheba nefesh, which is the etzem, so then the world around you changes. You're talking how do you affect the world? Everybody here was told to speak only about how did you change yourself, but really, when you change yourself in such a way by living with Yechida sheba nefesh, then you're not only changing yourself, everybody around you changes. And I can testify to you the same thing. That around me, one of the biggest nisim, I was 8.5 years in a very, very rough place. Many of the years I spent with very, very dangerous people. Once or twice, they reminded me where I was. It was but never, ever got hurt. And they had the biggest dercheres for me. And favos, what about me? It had dercheres. I didn't give them any money. I didn't give them, I was never extorted. I didn't give them anything. But when I saw this, when you live with Yechida, what we learn, then not only are you changed and you brought Mashiach into your life, you went out of your agbolas, the world around you changes along also. How can you tell if you live in Yechida? Right, and I see the time flies by in Fabring like this. So I wanted to share one more thing, a small anecdote that happened over there. There was two Yidden. One of the Yidden I encountered over there. He came in, he was very, very depressed. But kids, in the short term, I started learning with him Tanya. And in addition to everything else I was learning with everybody, this guy was far out. So I got to know him a little bit, and I got to know he was involved in this case with somebody else over there. The two Yidden, in this story is two Yidden. Without giving too many details, so you have to know who they are. So he had a saying. He got very involved with. He was trying very hard to get out of prison the legal way. So he was doing his motions about it's called 25. You go through all the papers and you try to find inyanim that the government did to violate your rights. And he was for years. He was mamish into every aspect of his case, back and forth and back. And he had a saying. The saying was, "I have no time for you. If you have time, if what you're going to tell me is going to help me get out of prison, I'll listen to you, or whatever you want them to do. But if it's not that, I'm dedicated now until I get out with this union." What happened? What happened was him and this other guy got into a fight. And how did I know about it? I wish I had time to say the whole thing. So one of them comes over to me, tells me they got into a squabble and they couldn't talk to each other. And the person was in danger. If these two fought, was in danger for both of them. But they got so heated up against each other that notwithstanding by them fighting, they could both stay in Golos and they could both be forever. So I tried to appeal to them. So listen, guys, you gotta get. So he hit me. I'm gonna use the same words that he always used on him. I said to him, the other guy came to me and told me about what happened. We have to make peace. So he says, I don't want to hear. If I tell you what it was about, was to lachen. But the Anias, there's Golus. I say, Blaise of Yofa saying, Anias makes him ugly. So I said, listen, before you get into anything, let me just tell you something. You have a saying that if it's something that's going to help me get out of here, are you ready to hear? If it's something which is not, I don't want to hear. I tell you, listen, stop with your fighting and think about it. You guys are going to fight. You're both going to wind up being here. How is your fighting going to help you get out of here? And that is exactly what he stopped fighting. So I wanted to share with my dear brothers and sisters over here the same tonight. Tonight, as the Iker is to consider mishpacha, you have to have obvious role. You have to know, one guy's pulling to the right, one guy's pulling to the other side, the right. There's two rights. Everybody's right. But Iker, if you have to ask yourself, is this agreement or this different view is going to help us out of Golus? Then it was one thing. But if this disagreement is, if we're both going to be bagrov in Golus, we're stuck. And that is, the Rabbi finishes off the Sikha. And he says, I'm going to make you to be mahir zayin. Listen to the Sikha. I listened to the Sikha many times. I didn't have to until later that before I speak that was echt the Sikha. The Rebbe finishes off to be mahir. I'm going to make you all shluchim mitzvah. I don't know. I looked at the English translation. They take it to shluchim. I don't know why they do it. A shliach means as a keichem a shalayach. Baby sure. Everybody looks at it. The Rebbe says, "I give you back." The Rebbe Hashem is not with us. A mitzvah is the keich to do the mitzvah. The very fact that the Rebbe, in the same sikh, which is the Rebbe says, "I'm making you now a shliach to do a mitzvah." Not that he's tam between shlichas. That means the Rebbe never said that he's not with us. The Rebbe never said that. Would we have keiches to do anything? Or dafke from Bimekusha. So we have to remember that, and that's how you do besimcha. The ikadem simcha to evolve. Wissen that we are going to see Mashiach, and we're going to get out of Golus, and it should be today. And we have to live. It should never be possible. The fact that we're staying Golus, a day finishes, and we're still in Golus. You have to answer what happened, why we're still here, and then correct everything. It was to everybody to see our Golus'dike and our Chaim.